So yes, so that's how I ended up in the Obama Fellowship. Met Mrs. Michelle Obama, the most
Must have been
phenomenal.
such amazing experience.
It was amazing. It was surreal, is maybe the word.
Wow, I'm telling you, I've been feeling like I'm having an out-of-body experience. I hope you've been watching the series that we've been doing with Esther Mwaniki from Lapid Leaders and the recipient of the Obama Fellowship 2019. My name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie. It's Mwenye Inchi Monday. Prison break for Kenya 2019, but prison break for Africa 2019. Welcome to part 6 of this series.
You know, some studies have shown the first university in the world.
I think it was in Ibadan.
Timbuktu.
Or in Timbuktu.
In Africa. So we need to deal with our identities that we start and shine.
Yeah.
And let God shine through us.
And I don't know what we're going to do, because also another thing is I'm feeling like now I feel my greatest fear also is the next colonialism is economic. And I can already see it.
Agreed.
And we've got to stop it before it continues. My goodness.
And that's been then the journey. And that's what got me now to Obama, the Obama Fellowship. And also a very divine process, because when I was taking the break from September, I really wanted to go abroad. And I felt I needed to be uplifted and be away from the norm so that I'm able to sort of think afresh. But it wasn't happening. And so I even thought, you know what, let's just move on and settle and get the work done. And so January got back into the process. Then they called and said, Esther, we want you to do an interview with you for the Obama Fellowship. Then I had even forgotten about that whole story because someone had mentioned it earlier. I'd totally forgotten about it. And when they called for the interview, I'd forgotten about it. This was a very divine process. Wow. And soon they started talking to the referees, and eventually I was selected as the only Kenyan, the first Kenyan. So they have
first Kenyan?
Yes.
Oh, hallelujah. Okay.
I know. They have a program they run for African leaders.
That's yearly. Is it yearly?
No, even they have Obama has started. Obama is very keen on raising civic innovators. Yeah. So he has a specific program he started after he left presidency for Africans, and they meet in South Africa for about 2 days. But this now is a global fellowship.
That's amazing.
I know. And we have 3 other Africans and a few
20 leaders.
So we're 20 in total, 3 from Africa, I think 2 or 3 from Asia, 2 or 3 from Europe, and then a bigger number from US. And it's such a gift for me, just being around a community of people who are determined to make sure that they change the world. Yeah. That alone was, I think for me, that was the biggest gift, in fact. And I met people who are doing such phenomenal things. Wow. I met somebody, and they're very community-based things. That's it. Let me give you 2 examples. One is very relatable because it's something we also have locally. There's someone who's doing Fathers Rising Inc. And he does mental health for fathers.
What?
At a large scale.
That's beautiful.
I know. And I listened to him and I thought, and we prayed about it. Imagine there's a way you have to come and do something here.
You should come and do some here. Because men have very many compounded problems. They can't get into it, even of not talking or being introverted. But you can see the world has been fighting men for a long time.
It has. And we need them healthy, because when they're healthy, all of us are healthy. Another one is doing, and they actually borrowed this principle from Africa. So the way we used to do, now the West is very heavy on prison, sending people to prison, court systems that are very harsh. People,
very harsh. And very harsh sentences and unfair sentences for almost the same crime.
And she did a study of Rwanda, Ghana, and apparently we used to do a place where we bring the offended and the offender, and they have a conversation until they make a decision on what they want to happen.
Really?
And so she's building a justice system around that.
That is so powerful.
Yes.
And especially, I hope it's based also in the US.
It's based in the US.
Justice system. Even when I watch movies and I see that in God we trust, I say, no other great God. Now this court system has become the oppressor. This is the oppressor, and you've brought God into the oppression. And then, that's the other thing that we have to have conversations about it. But you can imagine, even in the slave ships, the people who are capturing them were Christians.
They were.
So you can't trust this God.
No, you can't. Even South Africa, there's a time we were in a conversation and someone was saying apartheid was promoted by Christians.
Oh my goodness.
And so they wanted to do a justice conference, but they kept saying the first place we have to start as a church is say, we failed. And we are sorry.
That is so powerful.
And
if only the church could say we failed.
And we are sorry.
And we are sorry.
And that's it. Because even in this continent, I'm finding a lot of fighting against Christianity.
Yes.
And it's because the way Christianity was brought here was through colonialism
Yes.
that took away people's identity.
Yeah.
So me, I get a lot of
Right.
young people who just say, you know what, that Christianity that brought colonial tendency in these countries, and all we need to do is say we failed, we are sorry. Because there's a gap that is constantly growing between the church and its people, because we're not
So
saying we are sorry.
Constantly growing. And also, I'm sorry to say, becoming very irrelevant.
True.
You're not reaching me where I'm at. You're not talking to me. You're not reaching me. You're not addressing my everyday problems. You're not addressing what's going to happen tomorrow in the marketplace.
It's a bubble.
And then you're presenting this picture of perfection. And we're not perfect. We're struggling. We're drowning.
Very much.
We're not perfect.
Yeah.
And we don't want perfection.
No. And Christ didn't build a perfect church.
She didn't.
It's built on brokenness. Yeah.
Wow, Esther.
So yes, so that's how I ended up in the Obama Fellowship. Met Mrs. Michelle Obama. The most
Must have been
phenomenal.
such amazing experience.
It was amazing. It was surreal, is maybe the word. She's such an amazing woman.
She is. I just interacting with her book.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm so glad she wrote it.
Yes.
And that means somebody out there, if you need to write a book, please write a book. I'm so glad she wrote it, because she's brought for me there are facets of life that she's brought out that I would never have known and would never have come out in any other way except in the book. And it's a powerful book.
It is such a
It
powerful
really is.
book.
It really is.
And it's a book of authenticity as well.
Yes, that's the thing. Very authentic, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Not trying to cheat us about what happened where.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the most profound thing also, but it's because I'm only halfway through the book, but it's even the way Obama had a shift about marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he didn't come from a lineage of strong, good marriages.
Yeah.
But look at the kind of marriage that him and Michelle and his children have had. I mean, he's completely turned a generation around.
He has.
Completely. And made it cool to be married,
Yes.
to love your wife,
Yeah.
and to have your children. Absolutely
And she
powerful.
also stands so much for family. I mean,
She
some of the
does.
examples she kept
Family is
sharing
everything.
around how they've brought up their girls. You could see she has that understanding of we can't change the world while our families are broken.
Yes.
We
And
must.
that's very important. Because do you know, I was saying the other day, Esther, not only pastors, because we always say pastors, but even CEOs, do you know how many people, or even people who are climbing the leadership ranks, or even people in middle level management, do you know how many, you come here, you're celebrated, but your family is totally broken. I even said, some Christian out there needs to create a parameter where if we're going to judge people out of categories, it's not just about money. So you made money and you're wealthy, or you have the best idea in the world, but your family is shattered. There's no point in awarding you, because now you're the worst example. You're SI unit, so you made money but killed everyone.
Yeah.
No. What do you stand for? What are your family values?
Yeah.
Can we see your family?
Yeah.
Have you spent time with them?
Yeah.
Because that's where we should be first judging you, if that's a word, or your SI unit first should be your family.
Yeah.
What kind of spouse are you?
Yeah.
What kind of parent are you?
Yeah.
How have you parented?
Yeah.
Who are you mentoring?
Yeah.
Who are you coaching?
Yeah.
Is life all about you? Those are the questions I need to know before you tell me how rich you are. Now you've done well. You have hot clothes. We don't care. Let's look behind, dig deeper.
Agreed.
To find a research, kidogo investigation, to do a where. Who are you really?
And if we did that, we wouldn't have a lot of the scandals we're having of late. We've elevated money.
Or the wrong role models, that's what I was going to say, to society.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, and that's why I like when some leaders like to say, you don't know the backstory.
Yeah.
Let's find out the backstory first. Let's find out what's happening behind the scenes. You know, even I like when they do movies and they tell you this is the movie, but these are the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Or things some people like saying, they show you trailers. The trailer doesn't tell you about the movie.
Yeah.
This is the trailer.
Yeah.
Now tell me, hey, how did you make this movie? What has happened? Where have you been? What are the problems you've experienced? You know, that's what I want to know first.
Yep.
And I need to know that, not the glitz and the glamour. Glitz and glamour, good, we celebrate. Behind this glitz and glamour, what lies there? What lies there?
And that's actually the story. The story is behind.
Wow. And how will the Obama Fellowship work? Just as we
So we will be a part of the community for 2 years, but almost a lifelong things. So they're building a community of civic innovators.
Amen.
Yes, and investing in them. So a lot of opportunities, a lot of conversations. I mean, I met people that I read about and just learning from them. So the way we work is, one, we have a lot of meeting other great leaders and just learning from their stories. But also a lot of asking, how do we scale your work?
Okay.
And so that's a conversation that we're actually having at the moment.
For Lapid leaders,
Actually, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So the question that they are helping us answer, and together we're having conversation around is, this is what we've done. How do we reach more youth in Africa?
Amen.
And what does it take? And that's that's the focus of the next 2 years.
I love it.
To have that conversation. But for me, from a personal perspective, it's to build those communities of people who are passionate about more or less the same things and are changing systems and things that haven't worked. I'm really looking forward to that. Just having, there's a lady who I met, she's been doing an education for me around agriculture, some things that I'm yet to fully grasp. But that's the beauty of it. She ran some agricultural initiatives that she kept telling me, Esther, you guys can run this in Turkana and then you wouldn't have food crisis problems. So just being under people who've done different other things and learning from them is the beauty.
What the Obama Fellowship is about. I'm so glad, and I'm so excited, and also because we can't leave it there. I'm just, as we leave it there, but now we were at a place where you were stuck. We're at a place where you were like, I'm done. But I think there's been refreshing.
Oh yes.
Through this receiving the Obama Fellowship.
And even before that, the PLF did it for me. By the time I was done with PLF, I was done, and I was back on ground and ready to do the work. So this came, and it's very, I feel also it came, if it had come last year, perhaps the conversation would be different. Very different. I'm excited about it, but I feel I'm ready for it. The last, I have a new perspective. I think God needed to close the last chapter for us to write a new chapter. And I think that's where we are at now.
And that's amazing, because spiritually, we're in a season where the old has gone and the new has come. It's
That's
time
powerful.
for the new. It really is. We've been going through that a lot, transitions of old going and new coming. And you see, it's old gone, but new coming in a different format. It's still Lapid leaders,
It is.
but now with a different format, a different anointing. So that's taking place. Also, I must say, because, I must say about PLF that's another thing that it does. It's like there's so many things you can't do. If you are meant to do PLF, there's so many things you can't do before you do PLF. It's like it's a turning point. It's a transformation point. It's definitely a mindset changer. There's a transformational thinking that comes about it. Then now you can approach what God has next for you, because you've been through this process, and I love it. And PLF season 30 is the last one, as we know it, at least in a classroom setup, and then we're going online. Then we'll see what happens. My goodness. Hey, I hope my brain is bubbling, overwhelmed, overcharged, but excited at the same time. And the challenge is to build. Let's go build whatever it is God is calling you in terms of purpose. Build capacity, build community, build faith, build ability, be able to apologize. Because it's not only the church we're asking to apologize. It could be governments, it could be leaders, it could be parents, it could be mentors, coaches, people. Let's just apologize and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't really get this right, but what can we do, and how can we work together, and how can we move on? And then also, I think in the same breath, I'm thinking, let's not disconnect from things completely. You can't say this didn't work, so I'm off. No, find another way. Find another way and sit with God and understand God and trust in His timing and walk with Him, so that we can take back Kenya. I always remember it's Prison Break Kenya 2019. And now it's even Prison Break Africa 2019. We've got to break free from our past, from the old. We've got to go with a new flow, and we've got to do things right. And I must challenge you to bridge the gap between generations. You've got to listen to the younger generation got to listen to the older generation, and we also need to receive from you your ideas. You can't just sit there. And another important takeout from this part is foundations. You must have the correct foundation, because if you build a building on the wrong foundation, you have to bring it down and start again. So get the right foundation, and the right foundation is God. Mwenye Monday, God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.